I have Maria Faulkner and Ronan Doherty with me here from the Letterkenny IT, who've done a case study on Carl Lacey, which you're going to do a presentation on, Maria, here a little bit later on. Just tell us, both of you have different roles in terms of looking at Carl in this case study. Just explain your role to us, Maria, first of all.
Well, I suppose I'm coming at it first of all from the physiology point of view. So the first part of the presentation that we'll do later deals basically with how Carl would prepare before, during and after performance. And we'll look at certain things like training types, how to develop training programs, and basically the most appropriate ways to do it under different sort of conditions.
Yeah. And can I presume, or has it been presumptions, it's very much an individual thing in terms of the preparation, the actual match itself, and after, it's different for everybody?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I think that's the nice thing about the presentation tonight. We're going to come at it from a physiology and a nutrition point of view, and I suppose the introduction that we'll give will be quite general, but then it's going to be nice to have Carl there, because then he can give some individual examples, because obviously that's the ultimate goal, to make programs individual, even though it is part of a team setting.
And how important to get the two aspects of it, which you guys have been dealing with, right for Carl or for any other player?
I think, well, the two aspects plus probably many others, but we're just going to focus on the two tonight. I think it's massively important. The physiology and the training end, as well as the nutrition, are probably two of the most obvious ones perhaps, but two of the ones that if you make small changes that you can get the greatest performance gains. You can then, I suppose, go on and look at the biomechanics aspects of things, psychology, and of course loads and loads of other things as well, or other aspects of performance. But certainly the physiology and nutrition will be two we'll focus on.
Nutrition is something we hear a lot about now, Ronan, in terms of the players, and actually Donegal moved on to a different level, I suppose, a few years ago, and have maintained that. It is so important that they take the right stuff in.
Definitely. Well, I suppose in the last few years, the intensity that Donegal have brought to Gaelic games, you have to fuel properly to be able to sustain that level of effort and to take that into the last 15 minutes of a game. It's really important that you're fueled properly to sustain that level of effort.
Yeah. And I mean, is it a case just saying to the guys, this is what you should be eating and this is what you shouldn't be eating, or is that simplifying it too much?
I think those days are gone. I think it has to be very individualised, as Maria was saying. So you need to look at the training loads that the players are doing. You need to compare training days, match days. We look at GPS data now, we look at energy expenditure levels and try and tailor fueling strategies based on that information.
And the players have bought into this, Ronan, I suppose it's fair to say, because they had to, if they really want to be playing at senior inter-county level now. Unless you do that, you're not going to be competing.
It's an amateur code, but they're training like professionals, so if you don't take your preparation seriously, both physiology-wise, nutrition-wise, and all the other aspects of performance, recovery, preparation, you just have to behave like a professional athlete to perform.
And of course, players are all shapes and forms as well, Ronan. Some guys are well bulked up, some guys like Ryan McHugh, he's here tonight, very thin. Are you looking at all those things in terms of their diet?
Of course, we're going to talk about that tonight, that different athletes will have different goals in terms of body composition, so I think that's what you're referring to there, in terms of some athletes will look to increase muscle mass or lean mass, while other athletes, we'll not name them, but some people might be looking to lose a wee bit of body fat here and there, and there's times of the season when you can specifically look to do that and tailor the diet accordingly.
Well, that's a pity, because the fun's when you do name these people, of course, Ronan. Maria, just finally over to you then. Carl, one of our top players, of course, he's been around the scene, probably one of the more experienced players. I mean, can you give us a wee insight as to how this case study actually worked out in terms of where he's at in his career at the moment and performance-wise?
Well, I suppose it's probably a hard enough question to answer, if I'm honest with you, Charlie. I think from Carl's point of view, and I'll speak about it probably during the question and answer session we'll do with him here this evening. I suppose one of the biggest challenges he had was getting over the injury. He had a hip injury a few years ago, and probably the volume of work that he's had to do since then to maintain the level of fitness and the level of performance he would have done previously probably is a whole chapter or a story on its own. So I think at the minute he's certainly showing that he's definitely up there leading the way with the best, if not being the best, and I think it's very exciting from a Donegal point of view that he's still there.
Definitely, it's important to note that Carl's just completed a Masters in sports performance, so he's probably coming at it from an angle where he understands some of the things that we were talking about anyway, and it helps that he's an insight into how that's going to affect his performance on the pitch.
Okay guys, lovely talking to you, thanks very much.